Hi there, welcome back to Scribbles and Ink Stains. My name is Mary and it is time to select my February currently inked fountain pens and inks. I have a few decisions that I've already made as far as what my methodology will be. I have two pens that I have not tried out beyond the most superficial. And then for the rest, I've sort of attempted to look at it in terms of a consistent pairing of nib sizes. And that actually works for these two as well. So I am going to ink up two broad nibs, two medium nibs, two fine nibs, although this is a medium fine, two extra fines, although this writes more like a fine, maybe I should look at it like this. And then one larger capacity vac fill for a pigment ink. And the reason I'm deciding to fill this for a pigment ink is I go for a couple weeks between cleanings on my indelible black inks. And this one will be very easy to clean out because you can take that nib section off this TWSBI vac fill pen. I do have two vac fills in my lineup for this month, and yeah, I can't wait to figure out what inks I want in here. This one, the decision has already been made. This is my Sailor Pro Gear Slim in the color Momo, and this was my birthday pen. It actually came with a Sailor Shikori ink, but I have it inked with a different Sailor Shikori ink. This has been inked since my birthday, and this has the Hara Hara, so that decision has already been made. In terms of attempting to use some of my newer inks, I have two bottles that are new-ish to me. This one came with this pen, and this is a 3 Oysters that I very recently hauled from Jet Pens. I feel like this one, this kind of grungy green, will be going into one pen. This rather sheeny, red sheening blue will go into a pen. I don't know if I'll load it into the pen that it came with though. So let's look at where we are. This is the tile for that ink. This one will be an indelible. I don't think I'll do platinum black. I'll probably do the Diatramentus black just so I keep them rotating. And these are samples that were sort of new to me in December of 2022. So I feel like I want to give these a go. A shimmer would be a natural for a broad nib. This Diamine Monbrodo's hat would be a natural for a purple pen in extra fine that will write like a black. And now I've got these kind of odd creatures that I hauled at the end of 2022. Lady Rose is not a shimmer ink, but that might be really nice in a broad. I may be thinking in these terms. The Lady Rose goes with that kind of burgundy red quite nicely. I think the Edelstein is too green for any kind of art purposes, so I'm leaning towards the Linen Toolbar or the Sailor Shikori Yuki-akari in my medium custom 74. And then if I just look at this palette, this is such a lush greenish gray. Do I want that in a medium or a fine? I feel like I want that in a fine. I don't know how wet that ink is though. I may just ink this pen, the ink that it came with. Yeah, I've got 18 mil to go through, so why not? These are the two that I'm sort of weighing. I feel like I need an ochre yellow and that roofing tile gray. I know this nib is such a gusher. I'm going to do the 3 Oysters in that one because if it's dry, I know it'll still be a wonderful experience. And that means I need an ochre or a gold to go in this pen for art purposes. So let's see what we have in our tiles. It's been a while since I've done a Robert Oster ink. Yeah, the Diamine Autumn Oak is going to be too orange for this palette. Autumn and Auburn's gorgeous. This was too bright, washed out. Where's my gold Antiqua? There we go. I feel like I want that. Oh yeah, I want that Robert Oster gold Antiqua in my brass Kaweco. Very smooth, which is not the norm for me with my Kaweco experience. So what am I going to do? Pull aside for my art pens? Definitely the Robert Oster gold Antiqua. Probably the super bright blue, the Sailor Shikori in my medium, and maybe this one. we'll see. I'm gonna ink these up and then we'll swatch. All right, I'm ready to swatch these inks. We'll begin with the Diatramentis Archive ink in black, and I've loaded this into my TWSBI VAC 700R, and this is my monthly selection for my indelible ink. I do have a 45 ml bottle, and this ink is permanent and waterproof and deep and crisp with excellent flow. Here are some sloppy doodles from a Saturday spent making corrections to senior tributes. And I did a little wash with another ink that you'll see a little bit later, but absolutely indelible, doesn't budge, and that makes it a great art ink. Let's put the pen first. So this is my TWSBI VAC 700R with an extra fine nib. Once it sets down, it doesn't smear like that. I don't know if it's because of the vac in the chamber, but this one is not gunking up like the platinum black did in my TWSBI Eco. We'll see how long that holds up for. Yeah, looking forward to using that with doodles and drawing and art projects this month. Next up we have my Lamy 2000 with, I guess I'm going from least chromatic to most chromatic in the order of swatching. So this is an interesting ink. It's a bottle. It's a 3 Oysters ink, and it's called Giwa, which I believe translates to roofing tile gray. And I loaded it up in my Lamy 2000 extra fine. I forgot when I loaded this ink to push out the piston and allow 3 good-sized drops to go back into the bottle, so this burped on me on day 1, but I haven't had that issue once I took it back to the bottle and basically released 3 drops. If you are struggling with that with your Lamy, that's something that they suggest you do on the website. Roofing tile gray is sort of a grungy greenish grayish. Let's see, did I do a chromatography? It does, however, have some interesting color properties that I'll show you in just a minute. The chromatography is sort of a deep olive black, and then it moves through some interesting purple and ends with this really bright cyan. This is my Lamy 2000 extra fine, and it is 3 Oysters. It has a wonderful flow in this nib, and I'm really loving it. Really looking forward to exploring this one. Okay, next up, in terms of, this is kind of a near black on the paper. This is Diamine Monbrodo's hat, and it took me a long time to figure out what the illusion was. I finally found a blog post over on the Pen Addict, and this alludes to a Scottish lord in the 18th century whose work actually kind of anticipated Charles Darwin's Origin of the Species. And apparently this fellow was known for a couple quirky ideas, but also a deep purple top hat. So that was interesting. To my ear, it rang more along the lines of a character from The Hobbit or from fantasy literature, so I was a little bit off on that. This is my TWSBI Diamond 580. Look at that vibrant purple as it kind of smears out. I love that. And yet it's crisp and bright and legible and dark on the page, so I think I'm really going to enjoy this match. Next up, in terms of chroma, TWSBI, my Rose Gold Jade, loaded up with the ink that came with the set, which is TWSBI Midnight Blue. That is a gusher combination, by the way. I was kind of feeling gypped a little bit that this pen was packaged with an ink, but that is a lovely blue and high contrast and work appropriate, so that one's fun for me. Doodles. Look how flowy that is. On the swatch you can see it has quite a bit of sheen as well, and it washes out to a nice ultramarine. I would say straight out of the nib that sheen and the base color combined to make it kind of a deep, deep purpley blue. That means next up we have my Sailor Shikori in the shade Hara Hara. Now this pen was my birthday pen. I received this pen with birthday money. That means I bought it myself, July 1st. So this ink is named after the sound that a seasonal rain makes. Did I say pen? This ink, Hara Hara. And that's appropriate because we are having a cold winter rainy day. This one represents the autumn drizzle. I don't know if you can hear that nib song, but I get that with this ink in this pen all the time. It's a lovely sound, very meditative when you're journaling. Deep purpley mauve. I don't know if you heard that, but it's just such a lovely sound. Let's get the brown out of the way now because it's deeper in value than the last 3 inks that I'm going to swatch. So I decided to use one of the pens that I inked up last month. This is just one of my favorite Kaweco pens. It is my Brass Sport, and I have it loaded with Robert Oster Gold Antiqua. And I love this as a journaling ink, and really I'm super curious and excited to use this for art projects this month. It's one of those kind of deep ochres, greenish ochre I would say, goose poopy brown. I heard, and the reason I purchased the full bottle of this was I missed out on the Pilot Oroshizuku Inaho, and I just loved what I was seeing people do with that in their journals, and somehow I came across, someone suggested this Robert Oster ink as a dupe. So I'm really happy with it. I've never tried the Inaho, but yeah, I'm loving it for all applications, and I'll share those with you at my end of the month roundup. I polluted that little sample there of my smear, so I'm going to do that again. Yeah, I had other ink colors on my finger. Really look for wash and line drawings with this beauty towards the end of the month in my review. All right, and the last 3 inks are pretty bright. Let's see. In what order do I want to go in? Let's do Ferris Wheel Press Blushing Mushroom next. That I put in my Narwhal Original Plus in Lovenia Black. This is the one with the rose gold detailing. Now, this is sold out on the Narwhal site, but you can still find it with other pen sellers. I know for a fact that Pen Chalet still has the white and the black in stock. This is the only pen I've bought in 2023, which for me, that's really saying something. I went on a bit of a tear last year, and this year is all about learning about my pens and inks and enjoying my pens and inks and cutting way back on the acquisition. This is the new spelling of Narwhal because it's spelled Nahvalur. It's a branding decision that they made based on a fit pitched by Twisby. Not going to get into that now. Narwhal Original Plus in Lovenia Black. Broad nib. You can take these nib units off the front of the pen for cleaning, and if you want to swap it out with another Narwhal nib unit. All told, I've got a medium nib and now a broad. That's what I'm looking to do this year, is swap out nibs, not necessarily acquire more pens. I'm going to abbreviate because I feel like everyone knows Ferris Wheel Press. FWP, Blushing Mushroom, which is a shimmer ink. Look at that gorgeous shimmer along with this rose gold trim on the pen. This is the first time I've loaded a shimmer ink into a vac, and so far so good. It's flowing well. I feel like this ink nib combination on Tomoe River paper a little mushy. I prefer this on Clairefontaine paper. I think I can show you a little sample, but I'll go more into that in my month-end review. Nice shading, everything you would expect from a Ferris Wheel Press ink in a broad nib. I'm not having trouble with legibility, but I feel like it's a little crisper on Midori and Clairefontaine paper. All right, let's go Ferris Wheel Press Lady Rose, which is loaded in my Platinum 3776 Century with a broad nib. I put this in a broad because I was concerned about legibility. That was most of the feedback that I see online about this ink. It is very pretty. Just using the abbreviation, Ferris Wheel Press Lady Rose. Others online have criticized this as being a rather dry ink, but we'll see. We'll see if in long journal sessions this ink can keep up with my writing. It is legible in a broad, so I think I'm going to enjoy that. And last but not least, the real, I'm trying to go through some of my really bright inks, specifically blues. And I loaded this one in my Pilot Custom 74. This one has a 14 karat gold nib, and did I mention the Platinum's also a 14 karat nib? The Pilot is in a medium. And this is another one of the Sailor Shikioris. This I have a little sample of. Shikori, Yuki-akari. Let's get a clean finger for this smear. Seems to be a very wet, flowy ink, which is my preference. I just feel like in the winter, in February, we've had so much rain that I wanted to consciously, even though that feels like it jumps out of the palette, I really wanted something bright and cheery to kind of go to for long journaling sessions this month. Here is the wrap-up. This month I dipped into a selection of bottles and samples, I would say. Let's see, the bottles are Diatramentis, 3 Oysters, Robert Oster, Sailor Shikiori Hara Hara, Twisby, and the rest are sample sizes. I'm pretty happy with the palette. I think it gives me a fairly good range for art and journaling. This is my play date with myself, and I'm happy to share it with you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you in just a week or two. I've got another couple of videos in the can, and I really hope to be able to steal some time to edit those this weekend, like my wanted journal and how it's helping me. Anyway, I will see you in my next one. Ciao.